Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Please click to subscribe. I'm actually just sitting in the car now. I'm about to go do an interview tonight, sort of a late night interview, but I wanted to get on here and update everyone on this legal battle. And I did not see this coming. I seriously did not see this coming. But there is now a hearing scheduled on November 5th in Idaho between Bryan Kohberger's side, attorneys and Bryan Kohberger, and the state. Again, I thought we were done with all of this. Remember the plea deal? Bryan Kohberger pled guilty, went to prison. Did not think that I would be covering another Bryan Kohberger hearing, but there is now officially a hearing set for November 5th. And the reason is Bryan Kohberger is fighting paying restitution to the victims' families. They filed a motion saying they don't want to pay additional restitution. And now the judge has set a hearing for November 5th. So both sides are going to have to come in. It's like we're going back in time. I mean, both sides are going to be there. I don't know if the families will be there, but certainly Bryan Kohberger will be there. His attorney, Ann Taylor, will be there. And then the prosecution will have to be there as Bryan Kohberger tries to make his case on why he should not pay additional restitution. I have the motion that Bryan Kohberger's team filed, which is defendant's objection to the state's request for additional restitution. And they are saying that they shouldn't have to pay additional restitution to Bryan Kohberger's victims. The additional funds, they say, do not qualify as an economic loss under Idaho Code 195304 because Steve and Christy Gonzalez and Karen Laramie received extensive funds through multiple GoFundMe campaigns that specifically asked for and covered the expenses sought. Mr. Kohberger has no ability now or in the future to pay restitution because he is serving 4 consecutive life sentences plus 10 years. So they're saying because the families set up these GoFundMes, that Kohberger shouldn't have to pay additional restitution when it comes to the travel and the hardships that these families face because he murdered. So I forget, he murdered their children. Now, let me explain something to you. And sorry, I get a little bit passionate about all of this, but this is not necessarily about Bryan Kohberger having the funds to pay back thousands and thousands of dollars. The families aren't stupid. They know that that's probably never going to happen. But Bryan Kohberger will get money in his commissary in prison. People will be able to send him money. And if you're into the crime space, you know that there are these weird sickos out there that get obsessed with these criminals and killers. And I've seen it. Women who want to marry them. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. And they will put money in the bank accounts, in the commissary accounts for these guys. And the families, with this restitution, they, according to Idaho law, from the way I understand it, they can take a certain percentage of the money that goes into the commissary. Again, is that really going to add up to anything significant and really be able to make them whole or pay them back for all the work that they've had to miss, hotel rooms they've had to book, flights they've had to book? No. But will it make them feel like they're taking something from Bryan Kohberger when all he really has is commissary at this point? Yes. And that is why I believe that this is more important than maybe it seems at first. So back to the Kohberger motion. This is what he filed. The judgment of conviction ordered $251,000 in criminal fines and fees, $20,000 as civil judgment for each of the families named in the indictment, and also directed the state to resolution for hearing if the parties cannot stipulate to an amount within 60 days. They're saying that the receipts are relate to travel and accommodation that the state is asking for. And given the express language in the plea agreement, the only additional receipts submitted that may fall within contractual terms are those for the earns. So in Bryan Kohberger's motion, his attorney wrote that they are only required to pay for the earns. They were required to pay for the funeral expenses, and now they're saying, oh, maybe we should also have to pay for the earns. And look, I get Ann Taylor has a job to do, and I've always respected her for that. again, I've told you guys this before. My dad is a criminal defense attorney. I grew up with a dad who is a criminal defense attorney who defended criminals my entire life. So I respect what they do. It's part of our Constitution. It's an important job. But I don't know, something about going this far after this is all said and done and trying to penny pinch with these families and say that he's only responsible to pay for the earns according to the contractual terms. Um, just sort of, I don't know. It says several GoFundMe campaigns resulted in funds raised for the Gonzalez and Laramie families. Specifically, the GoFundMe campaign for Madison and Kaylee raised $73,000. These funds were promoted as going to both families. Another GoFundMe campaign for Karen Laramie raised $48,000 to help Maddie's family attend the Idaho trial, and also clarified that the funds were in fact used to travel to Boise for hearings, including the sentencing. So they're saying because of these GoFundMes, Bryan Kohberger shouldn't have to pay restitution. They're saying he has no ability to earn money or pay money given his 4 consecutive life terms, which I just read. Again, I don't know that this is really about him being able to pay the full amount. I think this is about taking away as much as they can from him when it comes to his commissary, because he's going to be behind bars for the rest of his life. So, motion was filed. Now there's news that there's actually going to be a hearing on November 5th where they're going to have to talk about this. In this episode, I spoke to someone who understands this in a way that no one else can. Kay Woodcock. If you followed my coverage, you know about the Lori Vallow case, also in Idaho. Crazy cult mom who killed her own kids, JJ and Tylee. And I became friendly with JJ and Tylee's grandparents, Larry and Kay. And they have been having to fight Lori Vallow for restitution. They have a hearing coming up in Idaho when it comes to restitution. And so all of this is very, very familiar to them. And so I want you to hear my conversation with Kay. Again, I think she provides a very interesting perspective when it comes to this topic. And she also has a hearing. She's also still fighting Lori Vallow for the money that she is owed. It's good to see you, Kay.
Hey, Brian, it's good to see you.
Always nice to see you. How are you and first of all, how are you and Larry doing?
We're doing really good. It's been nice not having to look with a court cloud over our heads for the past, for so many years, and to be able to engage in life and maybe plan a trip a few months out and not think, oh, I wonder when the court's going to be, or there's a hearing here, we can't go then. And so it's been great. And Larry had a little back surgery the other day, and he's responding. He is doing really good. So I just see now that it's going to be me keeping him. I'm going to have to hold him back a little bit because he will do too much.
Yeah, he seems like he would be tough to hold back.
Yes, he is.
Unfortunately, you're familiar with this whole restitution issue. And a lot of people are saying with Kohberger, well, he doesn't really have any money. Where does restitution come in? What's been the case with you guys when it comes to Lori Vallow?
Well, what in Idaho, it is if someone were to put $100 on her books or on her account for commissary or whatever, the state would withhold 20%, and that goes towards fines and restitution. And I don't know in what order, but it's not that we have any expectations of ever being made whole as far as the finances go, but it gives us comfort in the way that it's just less money she has to make her life a little easier while she's in prison. And that gives us, I mean, it may not be the most Christian thing, but it gives us a little comfort knowing she's just having to do without. And so, I mean, in all of this, to be able to get some little bit of satisfaction, and that's a little bit of satisfaction. So Um, that's that's what helps get past all this anyway. It just helps.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I guess in Idaho it's 20%. I think you were saying because Lori Vallow was also in Arizona. Do
Yeah.
they? I guess it's different state by state.
I think and you can't quote me, but I believe Arizona was 30%. So, either way, it's no big deal, but it does. I know in Idaho they have a hair salon at the women's prison, and that is number one, it's a prison. Who do you need to look pretty for? Who do you need to have your hair look good for? But anyway, um, so if she has a harder time meeting the financial requirements to have her hair styled or cut or colored in Idaho, then good. She needs to wait. She needs to wait and have to hustle for money or to get more people to send her money, whatever the case may be.
Do people actually send her money?
I don't know, but I do know from I've always been a true crime fan, and so I do know that people there's some strange people in our world that will think that she's gorgeous and they will try and write letters with her and exchange letters and try to become pen pals or then maybe make phone calls and then maybe get married. I mean, what of course she is married, but still, um, I do see her as the one that if some guy's gonna be sending her money, she will absolutely be writing letters back and forth to appease them and to keep getting the money coming. I definitely see that in her. So I do, yeah, people will send her money, and it's disgusting, but anyone who sends her money is as disgusting as her. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess like with Bryan Kohberger too, you get these women who it's really weird, but they like killers and they want to
Yeah,
write letters and put money in their commissary. And I'm assuming it's probably the same. There's probably men out there too that do the same thing, maybe with like Lori.
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, and I hadn't thought of it, but I can't imagine anyone thinking Chad Daybell is we're sending money to. But anyway, yeah, that's just gross. But yeah, I mean, we can't. They're still they still have rights, and although they rip the lives away from many people, they still have their rights, and we just have to deal with that. But
I can't believe they have a hair salon.
I can't either. I know that when she was in that state psychiatric unit, wherever, that they had a hair salon there, and they allowed them to get their hair done once a month because it was good for their self esteem. They looked better, so they would feel better. And but then I just learned that the prison has one too, and because the last time I saw something of her, she did a little interview over there in Idaho prison since she's been back from Arizona, and I'm like, my God, her hair just looks like she walked out of a salon. And I mean, she's a hairstylist, and she's a hair, does hair color, and she was very good at that. And so I don't know, maybe she's working in the hair salon for all I know.
Yeah, I've always been confused how her hair always looked done mostly. I'm like,
Well,
how did she get that done when she's in prison, you know? And it
I
always had like curls.
Yeah, I know that there's a jailhouse way of doing things, and the way they do, like when she was in Arizona, I'm sorry, in Idaho, going through her long trial up there, her hair was, you could tell she didn't have a mirror, and you could tell she didn't have the proper tools because I guess her hair looked as good as she could get it to look without the tools to do it. and it really looked like crap. But who am I to talk about that? Everybody's hair doesn't always look great. But
Yeah, I guess I get like innocent until proven guilty, and when you're still in jail and you have a trial coming up and you have to be in front of the jury, I mean,
yeah,
you should have some kind of rights to, decent clothes and look like a normal human. But once you've been convicted, especially of like what she did, it just
yeah,
kind of seems crazy to me. Like, I don't think that you should really have those opportunities anymore to like go to a hair salon.
I don't think so either. I agree with you 100%. And it's Tylee can never go to a hair salon. Tammy can never go to a hair salon. Charles can never get his hair cut and trimmed. Well, no, he was shaving his hair. But anyway, and JJ, she used to take care of JJ's hair. And so he can't have his hair cut or anything more anymore because they stole their lives from him.
Mm.
I don't see that they should have that. I don't see where they should be allowed to get their hair done when they rip the lives of other people away like that. That's not okay. It's really kind of disgusting that the state of Idaho would spend the money on that itself. And
Yeah.
I don't know who makes those rules and regs, but yeah, that's just pretty. I think if they were in our shoes, they would see things differently.
And with all the interviews that she does, I mean, again, I'm a journalist. I get people have a right to do an interview, one or two, but I've sort of lost count. I feel like there's always some new interview. It seems like at some point they should say, like, what's the point of these you know?
Right. Well, the thing is, she is has questions about my what I submitted to Arizona for restitution and what we spent for the trial, going over there for the trials and all that. And it's like, who can? She just wants to be in front of a camera. She wants spotlight. Once, if everybody would stop asking her for interviews, they would, I mean, I would appreciate that so very much. My family would appreciate that many times over because that's what she craves, is that spotlight. And so to let her just fade into the prison life and to be prison number whatever her number is, then that's even better. But people asking her for interviews is so disgusting. And then I'm gonna have to we have a hearing this Friday, the 24th, for where I've got to explain to her what the restitution, about what I submitted to the state for restitution. And
Fighting you on it?
yes, like what else does she have to do? So yeah, so I got to give up my Friday afternoon to, and it's a beautiful Friday. It would be beautiful Friday, and the temperatures are cooling down here. We're finally starting to feel a little bit of fall, and I'm going to be spending it on Zoom, telling her what I, what this was and how much that cost. And I mean, it's expensive now. It's expensive as hell to travel. And I'm sorry if she doesn't, I'm not sorry. She's just keeping the spotlight on herself. That's all it is. She doesn't give a damn about the money because she's never going to have to pay it back anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just something else for her to do. She'll get to go to another hearing. She'll get some like mental stimulation.
Yes, that's all it is. And plus, she'll get to, act like she's the goddess that she thinks she is.
Yeah. Something else interesting with this motion with the Kohberger one is, um, you know, it's just it's kind of just rubs you the wrong way when you read it. Same with you, with Lori. It's like after all that you've been through, after all the victims of Kohberger have been through, that they fight him on these little things once it's all over. And it,
Yeah,
like you said, you just can't move on, and you've got them questioning your every little expense. And they're questioning whether, these travel expenses and all of that are really worthy of restitution. I don't know if I mean, you and Larry have had to go to so many trials and hotels and
Yeah.
I mean, how do you that really adds up, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, a, a lot of money, Brian. A lot of money. And um, the in Kohberger's case, they were what 3 years from the when the murders happened in 22? No, 21.
Yeah. So it'd been years and years.
21. And so they were able to get them done this wrapped and it's 2025. So in under 4 years, a little under 4 years. And ours, this has been ongoing for, 6+ years. So, and plus we had all that extra travel and just so much. And it's just, I'm grateful that my brother left the money he did to us because otherwise we would have, you know, put a huge dent in our retirement savings. And so yeah, that I gave his sons there half of the money, and then the rest of the money was Charles had told me that we'd need it for JJ, and well, he was right. We did need it for JJ to make sure justice was achieved for JJ and Tylee and Charles and Tammy.
Hmm.
So you know that I'm just grateful. I'm grateful we could do it. I'm grateful could be there as many times as we were able to be there. And like Larry's surgery, he needed this surgery 3 years ago, but he was like, no, there's, you know, there was her trial and then his trial and hearings. And so he's like, no, we'll just wait till this is over. And so it's over. Well, except for this hearing with Lori Friday. And
Will she actually be on there? Like you have to see her?
she'll be on Zoom, and
Yeah.
I'll be on Zoom. She might not like it. It'll be interesting. Just say that. That's all I could say. It'll be interesting. You should watch.
Did you ever get any money from her yet?
Oh no, no. And I don't ever expect to get a dime, but
Sort of the principle, you know?
principle of it.
Yeah.
Do something wrong, there's consequences, and the financial consequences it has cost not just me, not just Larry. I mean, my brothers, my sister, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on, and now we're raising a 10-year-old granddaughter, and that's why Larry didn't come in for the trial in April in Arizona, was because we weren't going to just get someone to, we weren't going to disrupt her life and have her go stay with her other grandmother or other things. So, I mean, it's just a huge upheaval in your life, and everything that has ruled our life for so long. And again, now I'm going to lose a Friday afternoon, even if it's just for an hour. I'm going to lose that time out of a Friday afternoon when there's other things I could be doing because it's busy. And
Hmm.
my daughter's in a little parade Friday afternoon from school. Am I going to be able to go? No, I got to be on there. I got to be on this with Lori.
Yeah, it's almost like she just keeps like you just can't catch a break from this woman. You know what
It's
I mean?
a what do you call it? Whack-a-mole. She just
Yeah.
keeps popping up, and you just hammer them down.
Do you, and I think some of the victims in the Kohberger case would probably be interested in your answer to this, who some of them who I've gotten to know, they put so much of their energy into getting ready for the trial and the whole court process and staying on top of everything and doing interviews and talking to the prosecutor. I mean, it was like almost like a full-time job, you know?
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
I think in a way some of them, it's almost like you put off grieving. Like you can kind of like put some things in a box in yourself because you can just focus on like almost like the challenge and what's right in front of you. I mean, have you noticed that at all? I mean, now that like I mean, I know you have to do this thing on Friday, but now that finally it's kind of calming down, like is that hard at all?
Um, I have been going through this, and I don't even know if I ever grieved Charles's death because immediately his death was giving us all the red flags for JJ's safety. And it immediately went from being, sad about Charles, the loss of him, and then, well, we've got to worry about getting JJ taken care of. We have to, that just became the focus and it took it off of that. And so, yes, over a time, we have grieved about it, but I can't say if I still have my down days. I still have, those anniversaries of their death, the anniversary of them finding their bodies, the anniversary of the last day we saw them, the anniversary of this, the anniversary of that, and all those things bring back painful memories. But I have gotten to a point in where I can have an anniversary like of the last birthday party that we gave JJ his last birthday party in May of 2019, and I can go back to those videos and look at that, and he was happy, and he was, that brings me a little joy now instead of just the heartbreak of it all. And so, yeah, I mean, it's, I can't answer that question clearly, but it's just everybody's individually has to work through however they need to work through it. And so some may take a lot longer, some may take a lot less, but this has just been um, a, a sore that keeps getting ripped wide open. When you think you've got a little scar tissue, then here comes the next trial, and here comes this, here comes that, and it just rips it all open again. So, but I don't know. I just can't answer that question. I feel pretty much that I have forgiven Lori and Chad because not for it's not for them. And when you forgive someone, that doesn't mean you have to be a part of their life. It doesn't mean you have to have anything to do with them for the rest of your life. It because if someone's toxic, you don't need to be around them for the rest of your life. So with them, I'm saving my soul and giving myself peace where that's just I'm finally pretty sure I'm at that spot where I have forgiven them, but I don't know. I've still got things I need to work on to make sure to see where I'm at. I don't know. Still in therapy, 5+ years later, and I I still have things to work through, things as they come up, you know. So it's everlasting,
Mm.
and so there you go. There's another expense right there, and it's ongoing. That my insurance company quit paying for my therapy sessions with my therapist, so I have to pay for those out of pocket now. So, and I don't know how long I'll have to do it, but I'll do it because I need to make sure I can deal with all this, that I can survive this. We've been through the worst. There's no doubt about that. Now now everything is much easier. It's much easier than it ever was. So I just believe I'm just past that, and except for her wanting to be in the spotlight.
Well, I hope that after Friday, maybe that'll be the last time or one of the last times you have to see her and be on a Zoom with her. And you and Larry, I mean, are such an inspiration to so many people from who have been following you and seen you at all the trials. So, maybe that's some good that's come out of this, that, people who see you guys and hear your story feel like they can overcome things happening in their lives.
And we have both been approached by many people via text messages or instant messenger or however, just that, giving them support or giving us support. And then they think that they'll say, well, when I think I'm having a bad day, I think about y'all. And then I think, well, no, my day's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. You're having a bad day. But then again, a lot of people that are grieving loss, everybody's loss is their loss, and it's not less than ours or more than ours. You know what I mean? It's just, it's the loss. And so, just that we're there for each other, and that has been a huge part of what's allowed us to persevere through this, is the outpouring of affection and support, and just, you know, the overall feeling we've gotten from the public, but it's really helped us through. I don't think we could have done this if nobody would ever said anything to us about it. It would have been a lot worse. I can truly say it would have been a lot worse,
Hmm.
because it felt like, to me, it felt like, um, they were able to take some of the weight off of the burden of the loss, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you weren't alone. I mean,
We, although for a long time I was very alone,
yeah,
and with Larry right here, I was very alone, and it's just, that's part of the process, and it does make you feel that way. And then, then you realize, well, I'm not alone. And then you can, then you get past that, and then you can, just little steps like that.
yeah.
They're
Little steps. Well, I appreciate you, Kay. Thank you for talking with me. Give my best to Larry. And like I said, I know you inspired a lot of people and other people who continue to, like with this case with Kohberger, people that continue to go through things, they can look back at the way you handle things and hopefully get some strength knowing they can come out on the other side, you know?
Yep, I'm on the other side, and it feels good. I'm starting to feel, I didn't think any joy could come back into my life for a long time, but I feel joy, and I know I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay.
Good. All right, Kay. Thank you. Good seeing you. All
Brian,
right,
have
talk to you later. All right,
a
bye.